So the CW's next superhero character is Batwoman, and recently it was announced that Ruby Rose has been cast for the role. Now as for my thoughts on Ruby Rose, I've never been fond of her as an actress. I never hated her, but I never came out of a movie and thought she was the standout. I mean, I'm not being mean or anything, but the best movie I've seen her in was John Wick 2, and she doesn't even talk in that film. Now, as for the character of Batwoman, I was never a fan of this hero. The first time I saw her was when the creators of the spectacular Batman animated series actually tried to make a movie about her called Mystery of the Batwoman, and the common consensus is that the film was just average. So average, in fact, that she never ended up joining the Bat family. And these guys know how to portray superheroes competently, as they are the very professionals that made features such as Batman Mask of the Phantasm and related shows such as the animated Superman, Batman Beyond, and Justice League. And even they couldn't make a great Batwoman. So what chance does the CW think they have? Not to mention that the modern New 52 Batwoman was forced into Batman's team whether she was well received or not. In my opinion, she is nowhere near the quality of the animated movie version, and even I thought that one was average. So why are the CW making a Batwoman show? I mean, of all the characters we are itching to see have their own TV show, why her? Well, I'll tell you why. The only reason they want to make a show out of her is because Batwoman is a lesbian. That's it. And before I explain how I came to that conclusion, I will need to talk about the state of the current line of DCW TV shows. Now, when Arrow and Flash started with their first 3 seasons, the shows were successful because their main priorities was storytelling, characters, and the conflict between the forces of good and evil, whereas now, the main thing the CW shows have prioritized is people's sexuality and political gender stereotyping. The reason I see a problem with this is because I am feeling the Kathleen Kennedy effect here. Just like when Kathleen Kennedy became the president of Lucasfilm, she saw that Star Wars had a huge fan base. So what did she do? Rather than continue what made it a success in the first place with great storytelling and characters, she just used the popular franchise as a means to spread her views of feminism and gender politics. And she prioritized that instead of continuing the legacy of what made the franchise so great in the first place. And the CW is doing exactly the same thing with the superheroes. Instead of appealing to the fans like they used to, they are now appealing to the SJW demographic. Sound familiar?
I'm the Flash.
See, that's what you don't get. When I put this ring on my finger, it wasn't just about you or me anymore. It was about us. You are not the Flash, Barry. We are.
It's not funny, Ed. Hey, shut up!
Did the writers just stop and realize how stupid that sounds? I mean, that's like Alfred saying, Master Wayne, you aren't Batman. We are.
Goodbye, Alfred.
Let's just take a moment and think about other superhero couples saying the same thing. Imagine if Lois said to Clark, you aren't Superman, we are.
No.
Pepper saying to Stark, you aren't Iron Man, we are.
Okay.
Sounds stupid, doesn't it? So, let's analyze the Flash then. In the most recent season, Season 4, it was the first of the Flash's seasons that tried to push some SJW agenda by making Iris West the leader of Team Flash. Yep, a woman whose only prior experience was being a waitress and a journalist has now become the strategic and tactical leader of a team of superheroes. Not to mention that when she got the Flash's powers for one episode, she somehow managed to do a tidal wave, something Barry Allen was never able to do in the entirety of the show's 4 seasons.
You never made your own tidal wave before.
No, I haven't.
You go, girl.
A female character who just discovers her inner power and manages to outperform others with this ability in such a short amount of time. This is sounding awfully similar to the Mary Sue we got on Star Wars, isn't it? And I'm seeing a rapidly growing increase of this in the superhero genre. The movies are so far in the clear, but the animated films and CW shows are really starting to lay the SJW agendas on thick.
It didn't weaken me at all.
It might have.
No. No, I was at full strength and you beat me.
Most of the other DC shows, however, are starting to push and make the sexual aspects of the series one of their primary components. In Legends of Tomorrow's case, it became so bad that I stopped watching the show altogether. The reason is because Legends was the first to actually prioritize the sexual aspects over the storyline. And there was one major scene in particular that was so bad that I felt like I was watching a superhero show that is really a horny guy's excuse to watch his sexual fantasies on screen. The scene I'm referring to is when Sarah here was supposed to protect the Queen of France France in the year 1637 before she was about to get pregnant. But what did Sarah do? Instead, she screwed the Queen of France, despite the fact that this would have severe consequences to centuries of the timeline. But the show just tried to irresponsibly encourage what Sarah did by brushing it off as a charming moment. I mean, the whole purpose of this show is that the heroes are trying to save the world by traveling back in time, and in the process have to try their damn hardest to not make any damages or ripples to the timeline. That's the concept that initially drew me into the show, but the creators of the show were like, to hell with the storylines, to hell with what we set out to do with this show, we want to give Sarah yet another lesbian makeout scene. And her defense for doing this and potentially dooming the timeline...
I knew I forgot something. The part where Rip tells us everything that we did wrong.
As in seducing the Queen of France just before she's supposed to conceive the country's greatest hope for the future?
She seduced me.
And then when Sarah finds out that Barry went back in time to save his mother from her death, she comes out with this shit.
You can't go back and just change things like that, Barry.
I know.
You know how hard it is for me to not alter events, to bring my sister back? But I don't, because I know the implications.
You see that? The show tries to make her look all self-righteous and empowered, when really, the horny cow could have caused a humongously irresponsible and destructive change on the timeline. Not because she wanted to save someone she cared about, but because she wanted to screw someone. She didn't care what ramifications it would have had on the rest of the timeline. But do you know what? The show doesn't decide to hold her responsible for her reckless acts. Instead, it glorifies and praises her because the show seems to want to support homosexuality rather than the actions one takes to save a human life. This is a new form of Hollywood manipulation that I haven't seen before, and it is sick on a multitude of levels. And it was because of that I stopped watching Legends. And this brings me to the Earth 10 crossover. Now, a lot of you have been asking me if I could review it, and I never did. And here's the reason why. Do you remember when I said in my last DCW crossover review that they kept shoving in our face that Sarah was a lesbian 3 episodes in a row? Well, this crossover shoved it in our face every 10 minutes, and not just with Sarah, but with several of the other gay characters. As much as I liked the crossover, this was the major problem which almost completely outweighed all the good in the episode. The show literally felt the need to constantly keep slamming a homosexual message in our face every other scene. It was so constant and intrusive that I actually went away remembering more of the sexual elements of the episode than I did the actual crossover. And after the unearned and nonsensical leadership of Iris, this was the moment when I noticed that something was changing with the CW, and that their social messages were taking center stage rather than the stories and natural character development. And even though we are primarily seeing this in the CW, it is also making its way to the animated features as well. In The Killing Joke, we saw Batgirl screw her father figure, and in the Batman and Harley Quinn animated movie, Harley actually rapes Nightwing, and it was treated as a comedic scene. I never brought this up before, but there is a part of me that actually feels sick when I see these unrelated stuff unfold. From Iris's forced promotion to team leader, to the constant non-stop messages of homosexuality, and the way they try to empower certain female characters with no backstory or natural development. Which, when transcribed to the actor's dialogue, results in the scenes becoming so cringeworthy.
You a Doctor Who fan, Joni?
Well, ever since he became a lady, I am. #feminism. You know, it's true what they say. Behind every great man is a strong woman.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I've never stood behind a man.
About your infuriating male ego, that part I meant.
We're women. We're tough, we're wise, and we're way above this pettiness. The future is female. We've all read the t-shirts.
Yeah, we sure did.
So we are 3 strong, formidable women, and we can do anything we want.
No, I was at full strength and you beat me.
The thing that makes women strong is that we have the guts to be vulnerable.
We got this. We're strong women.
This is what the CW superhero shows have become now. So no, I am not looking forward to CW's Batwoman. After seeing the direction they are going, it is painstakingly obvious that they did not decide to make a show about this character because they have great stories to tell. They picked her because she is a lesbian superhero, and it is just another piece that will add to their own version of gender politics. And I am not going to support this at all. We have already seen the damage of gender politics when it took over the stories and characters of Star Wars, and look at the state that's in now. I do not want another version of that to happen to the superhero genre. The superhero genre is going strong and striving without these unnecessary elements, and including them is rapidly transforming it into the next Lucasfilm. The writers of these shows are now spending so much time glorifying these irrelevant and lustful relationships and these narratively unrelated gender politics, rather than the story at hand for the season, which now just feels like an afterthought. I mean, would Avengers Infinity War or any of the Marvel films have been more powerful movies if they incorporated lustful relationships, constant nods to people's sexuality, and forced leadership? They have learned to keep the romantic relationships in the background, and the only ones they focus on are the ones from the well thought out source material that contribute to the storytelling. Otherwise, they've learned to completely ignore them.
Sorry to hear that Jane dumped you.
She didn't dump me, you know. I dumped her. It's a mutual dumping.
Currently, the only CW superhero show that I am watching is The Flash, and if it repeats or elevates these mistakes in season 5, then I will stop watching it too and move completely away from the CW. I loved the first 3 seasons of the show, and that's why it pains me that season 4 was this average and misguided. Not to mention, it also had 2 truly awful episodes that were just feminist propaganda from beginning to end. That being episode 5 and 16. Episode 5 in particular tried to do something that the Batman animated series did so much better. Both episodes are called Girls' Night Out, and the animated show not only did it better, but it also is a perfect representation as to how far we have gone down the shithole with regards to female represented characters in the entertainment industry. No natural and realistic character development, they're just strong by doing things in the name of feminism.
I thought I saw you dancing on that stage in a gold sequin bikini.
I want to control the narrative of feminism, okay? I want to show the world that a powerful, strong woman, she can wear anything, be it a bikini or a pantsuit.
Yeah, that's right. This show literally told all the girls watching that you can get away with undignified shit such as pole dancing, just so long as you are doing it in the name of feminism, that makes it alright. In many ways, the CW is really going down an even worse path than Lucasfilm when Kathleen Kennedy took over, and this new Batwoman show is just another step that is going to take it even deeper into a series lineup that is starting to get purely fueled by gender politics. If you want to watch some great episodes that are centered around female superheroes, then watch shows like Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, Teen Titans, and Young Justice. These shows have certain episodes that are female only, and they don't preach a load of bullshit like the CW. They're still flawed, they make mistakes, experience issues, and what makes them strong in the end is how they find a solution to their problems. That's what makes someone's character strong, and is something everyone can relate to. These shows get it. The CW, on the other hand...
We're strong women. Yeah. Hashtag feminism. Hashtag feminism. Hashtag feminism.
don't get it. So that's it for another video. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up as it really does help, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this one and for more Versus videos. And if you're really feeling generous, feel free to donate to me via PayPal or Patreon. Links to everything are in the description below. Thank you very much as always for watching, guys, and I will catch all of you next time. Take care.